The Battle of Hunain. After the conquest of Makkah, the Prophet learned that the Banu Thaqif and Banu Hawazin tribes near Taif were ready for war. Many tribes together raised an army of 20,000 troops. The Prophet used to say the best way of defense is attack. So Muslims got ready and they were 12,000. Some Muslims became overconfident and said no one can defeat us today due to our number. Allah gave them a lesson as they entered into the valley of Hunain. The enemies showered arrows and stones and cavalry attacked. All Muslims got panicked and started to retreat. But the Prophet was moving ahead without fear on Duldul. He asked Hazrat Abbas to call them back as his voice was loud. Muslims returned at a very good time and rallied around the Prophet as enemies had come down to attack. Allah mentioned it in the Quran, 9:25-26. The help of Allah came in the form of angels, and Muslims defeated them. Malik bin Auf had asked his people to bring their women, children and cattle into the battlefield. An experienced warrior, Duraid, opposed him, but he didn't listen to his advice. After the defeat, all of it fell into the hands of Muslims as spoils. There were 40,000 goats, sheep, 24,000 camels and 6,000. The Prophet followed the running fighters and they took refuge in the fortress of Taif. Muslims besieged the fortress but couldn't conquer it, though they even used catapults. They were throwing hot iron and arrows. Many Muslims were injured, like Abu Sufyan, who lost his eye. The Prophet came back to Jirana and waited for them for 10 days, but they didn't come. Then he distributed the spoils and gave huge shares to the newly converts of Makkah. Ansar got upset about it, but the Prophet explained to them that they are newly converts, so he wanted to welcome them in Islam. He said Makkans will take cattle with them to Makkah and Ansar will take Allah's messenger to Madina. So Ansar got satisfied. Then the people came back from Taif, accepted Islam and requested for their things. Their families were returned to them. Then the Prophet wore ihram in Jirana and performed Umrah, then he returned back to Medina. The significance of this battle is that Muslims learned a lesson that they should neither be overconfident nor should they feel proud of their number of troops, but they should always put their trust in Allah. The number of Muslims increased as two major tribes in Arabia accepted Islam. Muslims also got financial benefits in the form of spoils, and newly converts of Makkah became satisfied in Islam. The security of Makkah became stronger as the neighboring tribes also accepted Islam.